In the late 1950s, many of the most influential beat artists from the US moved to Paris, where they convened together in a small communal space that would go on to be permanently known as the Beat Motel. Among the artists living there were Allen Ginsberg, Harold Norse, Gregory Corso, and most notably Brian Gysin, a visionary painter and famed occultist who invented the cut-up technique, a form of creative word dissection that influenced William S. Burroughs to the extent that the duo, Gysin and Burroughs, would go on to become lifetime collaborators. Burroughs finished his crowning achievement, The Naked Lunch, at the Beat Motel in 1959, after traveling the world following the accidental murder of his own wife in Mexico. Burroughs utilized the cut-up system he had learned from Gysin to complete the novel, and eventually the duo would go on to write The Third Mind, an entire book of cut-up writings. The Beat Motel was a creative space, a space in which much of the aesthetic elements that would go on to influence the 1960s took place. It is said that art utilizing oil and food coloring over a projector was invented by the team of artists living there, as well as cut-up audio, an artistic effect currently known as sampling among electronics musicians. Ian Somerville moved to the Beat Motel and quickly became Burroughs' lover and artistic assistant. Along with Gysin, Somerville helped invent an artistic device known as the Dream Machine. Tonight we discuss the device. We are joined by Michael Magickman, a friend from Connecticut. Michael was formerly involved with the Temple of Psychic Youth. He currently teaches magic and occultism in various classes and lectures where he lives. I'll try to speak up a little bit. Go ahead and we're going to do the introductory question. What is magic, Michael?
Oh, I see. Well, for me at least, magic has always been intertwined with art and performance, hence the ritual end of it. And as far as my studies go, it seems to have a lot to do with the what I call the wiring under the board, and tinkering with that to sort of augment reality to the way that you want it to be. Basis for everything from trance visions to sigilization to people who like to paint frescoes.
Cool. Well, excellent. And we're going to talk about a few things tonight. We're going to talk about the Dream Machine, popularized by William Burroughs, and that was invented by Brian Gysin and Ian Somerville, is that right?
Yeah, the way the culture folks tale goes, around December, actually right on the winter solstice in 1958, that's with a 5.
It was on the winter solstice?
He was taking a bus trip at sunset, and as he closed his eyes to rest, he was passing a lot of telephone poles and trees, and the sun was shining through it, and it created this flicker effect that made colors dance on the back of his eyelids, basically, and it formed a little vision. At first, it looked like Mesoamerican patterns or some sort of, ancient rug or something like that. But then it turned into landscapes and actual visions as he lay there. And later on, he got an idea to try to replicate that. And it actually took about 3 years to get the pattern and speed right.
Wow.
Before he got the effect that he had originally experienced. Luckily, he made a journal entry about it and used that as a reference point, I guess you could say.
When you say he, are you talking about Somerville or Gysin?
Gysin.
Okay.
Brian Gysin was the one who got the idea of making a sculpture that you could look at with your eyes closed, based on the two of them talking about this experience back and forth.
Wow. And that
was instrumental in popularizing it and spreading it a great deal, and then also in having him manufactured for a short period of time.
Oh, Burroughs did the manufacturing.
Really large and pretty expensive, but they can be made at home also.
So, basically tell us about the basic construct of a dream machine, how it's made, and you own one, correct?
I don't have a functioning one now, but I just had a record player donated. I put out some feelers that I was looking for an old record player that would play 78 speed, which is the one unusual component, I guess, that not everybody has.
Right.
You usually have to scour thrift shops or Salvation Army or people's attics or basements.
Yeah.
Once you've got that,
I was reading it. Can it do 45 as well, or does it have to be 78?
Well, the way that I know to make it using the pattern that Dyson used is based on using a 12-inch record on playing at 78 speed. You have to put it on the outside of the record. Now, you could easily do smaller ones and wider ones. In fact, the famous video that's out showing Dyson and Burroughs using a really wide one that's about 3 feet wide. So it really comes down to replicating the speed so that it augments the alpha and theta waves in your brain properly to create the experience. Yeah, you can make it any size you want it to. The ones that I'm familiar with doing are based on Temple of Psychic Use pamphlet that they were promoting in the 80s. I actually have original copies of that.
Oh, you have copies of those?
I've worked on it many times. It works great. And it just happens to work on a 12-inch record that plays at 78.
Badass.
You are right. You can do any width you want as long as you get the flicker effect at the right speed.
Yeah, on the wiki page, there's a wiki page for the Dream Machine. It actually says that it induces alpha wave. I don't know if that's corresponding to a different speed, but you say theta wave. Maybe the different speeds correspond to different brain functions.
Well, yeah, by augmenting those two brain waves, it tends to touch the parts of the brain and stimulate the parts that are related to trance. They come from ecstatic dance as well as some types of drugs, as well as religious experience.
Right.
So this is why people frequently have those types of visions. At my house, I have a journal from whenever I have one running. I always have the journal out and people record their vision. You wouldn't believe some of the little stories that they tell in there.
I can only imagine. Do you have a question, Kim?
Thinking it makes me think about that flicker of light kind of thing that you make when you're a kid, where you kind of cut slits in paper and then it shows a story going around in a circle, is it kind of like that?
Yeah. Not a kaleidoscope, a kinetoscope, I think those are called.
Right.
A kinetoscope. Yeah, they would show a dancing horse or some little scene, something like that. Sometimes built from photographs or sometimes a little line drawing.
Like a simple story with slits of light in it. And then drawings. But it's kind of like the first binaural beats before sounds. It's like binaural beats for your eyes. Right?
Exactly, yes. And when you run it at different speeds, it messes with the optical nerve pulses at a different rate. And so it messes with the various brain waves. You can also slow it down and have it mess with your delta waves as well, which causes a completely different experience.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the differences. So to finish up, we talked about the phonograph. What kind of cylinder do they use to create the shapes and the patterns?
The cylinder is made from paperboard. I've used poster board from any old department store. It takes 3 pieces because it's a 32 by 32 inch piece. And then once you've made it out flat, you wrap it round. And when you wrap it to a tube, it fits perfectly on a 12-inch record with a couple pieces of tape.
And those are the only components, the phonograph and the paperboard?
Well, you have to rig up a light, usually coming from the ceiling. Okay. I usually just find something from a hardware store that's like a light bulb at the end of an extension cord, essentially, and rig up a little loop like you'd hang a house plant or something off of, and just angle that down until it hits the right point. Good 100-watt light bulb in the center of that is just perfect. We mess with colors and even black light stuff, but truthfully it doesn't work as well. Just a plain old white light.
In the pictures I've seen of the Dream Machine, it looks like they just do kind of blotches, kind of rectangular blotches of, like kind of rectangular holes. Are there different shapes that people play around with?
Yes, there's 4 different shapes. Like I said, it took him 3 years for him to develop the pattern. And they're sort of these interlocking, they're rectangular, and some of them are pointed at the end, and some of them are asymmetrical. And they're in this pattern, so that it creates this sort of dancing effect. So that the tops and the bottoms of the slit, so to speak, are all different as it jumps around. So your eye really can't focus on what the machine is doing, even if your eyes are open.
Wow.
It's actually pretty entrancing.
Yeah.
You can look into it and just kind of stare right through it.
The first thing that comes to mind for me, like if I had one, was I would figure it would enhance the magical experience. Like say you were to grab an old grimoire, like the Goetia, or you were to play around with Enochian magic, what have you. I mean, have you done any experiments using old grimoires, like trying to conjure, old demonic or angelic forces using this machine? Does it enhance that effect?
No, it doesn't really seem to. What it does do, though, notably, is mess with sleep and your ability to lucidly dream.
Okay.
Also, one of the more interesting ones, we had 2 going at one time.
Wow.
And we started experimenting with leaving them run continuously for as long as we could stand it, basically. And so we had 2 running in a room while you were sleeping. So you had this flicker pattern going in while you were hitting REM sleep. And it just created an ability to lucidly dream that I can't replicate. Basically, like that's the only way to do it.
That's weird.
Well, yeah, hopefully, you're not epileptic. But I don't think it's the right frequency, because I've never seen anybody do that or heard of anyone having epileptic seizure because of it. Either because they avoid it, or maybe it's just not the right flicker.
Well, yeah, it seems maybe like it would have more of a calming effect than kind of a chaotic, outrageous, I'm gonna have a seizure effect. I want to talk about William S. Burroughs and Geisen in a minute, but before that, do you want to share maybe some interesting experiences you've had with the machine, specifically?
Well, like I said, we messed with it with prolonged use, because most of the time people will do sort of if you know the death posture, the spare.
I was reading about that earlier today. Yeah.
We would do the death posture in a circle around the thing. When we had a Toby couple going, there'd be 4 or 6 of us, and sit there and do the death posture for say 30 minutes, and do these what we call kind of short ones, and that would produce the images and visions that went into the book.
Wow.
But leaving them run for like a week at a time, where you were like sleeping, eating, just kind of living with the dream machine, so to speak, produces, I don't know quite how to explain, it produces an environment that is altered, sort of like hitting a ritual space that's been cleansed and used for a ritual, and then staying there, so that you never really leave your sacred spot.
Like a metaphysical realm that's different than ours.
As long as the light's there, it kind of gets to you.
So it's like a different dimension.
Really creates that effect well if you were to put it up on a large television, because it would make the room flicker like in that way.
So you would just leave those going for days on end?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow, that's magical, man. That's awesome. I was reading about the death posture a little bit earlier. I think I first heard about it actually in Night Side of Eden by Kenneth Grant, and I was a little confused. I was reading up on it earlier. My gist of it is that basically you hyperventilate for a few minutes before lying in the classic yogic death posture, which is just lying on the floor with your palms facing upwards, right?
Well, it's more of an asana position that Spare came up with. It's pretty uncomfortable at times, but that's part of the point, like many asana positions. So if you kneel down with your feet underneath your butt, we'll say, flatten your feet out so that your toes are, flat against the floor and crossed, and then sit on Let
Kind
me
of
see if
like-
I can do it real quick.
Is that the
Hold on.
God posture? Kind of like the God posture by Crowley?
It's taken from his illustrations.
Interesting. You're doing it right now?
But to write about the breathing, you begin that way, and then you sit down in this position, and you're essentially sitting on crossed ankles in a way. And it's uncomfortable at first, but after a while it becomes quite comfortable.
How long does that take?
You use that as a distraction as you slip into the trance state.
Okay. Yeah, those it's so different. The classic yogic poses, which you hold at lengths of time. Westernized American yoga, you would hold each position for a few seconds or a minute. In classic yoga, it's more like you hold each position for hours on end, right?
Yeah, I was trained in Hatha yoga, and we would do 8-hour sessions. I mean, not 8 hours in the same position, but long periods of time, like 60 minutes, 2 hours.
What's the longest you've held a single position?
Oh, I'm sure I've sat in half lotus for. Pardon me. Had a tickle. I'm sure I've sat in half lotus for 8 hours on plenty of occasions.
Wild. Yeah, I haven't gone that far with asana, man. That's crazy. Asana was always kind of my laziest point in yoga for sure. Yeah, I just stick to like dharana and visualizations, breathing, prana, that kind of thing. But no, that's wild. Anyways, back to the other stuff. So talk to me a little bit about your involvement in the Temple of Psychic Youth.
I was one of the early people that started when it moved into the United States. It was in Denver originally. And so the U.S. was always a little different from the UK version of it. Everything. In fact, that was the case for the whole temple. Whatever country it was in, it kind of, absorbed a little bit of the local flavor.
Now, when you say earlier, are you talking about the...
for a good long while. I'd say definitely over 25 years.
Wild.
Yeah.
What year did you start? Is that in the late 80s, early 90s, or?
Yeah, in the mid 80s actually.
Wow.
I guess it might have been 87, 88, something like that. I'd have to look on my paperwork.
Right.
I eventually ended up running an AP on an access point and having a library, which the remnants of still exist, I guess.
Wild. Still exists in where you live?
Yeah, and it used to be a bit of a commune, I guess you could say, where there was a lot of people sort of living together. And that was a common model throughout the temple, actually, that there would be sort of temple houses and access points or some other node within the network. There was just like little clumpings of the temple people. Even now, there's the ex-people still kind of keep in touch because it's a hard thing to...
It's a hard thing to let go of.
I guess,
So,
stop talking to each other.
right, yeah. What are some of the differences that you were talking about between the American and UK versions of the tribe?
It was definitely very experimental, I'd say. They adopted a different set of symbols, I guess, is one of the main things that was shown on the outside. Of course, they use different kinds of temple names, Coyote as opposed to Eden, etc. And we're definitely hooked in with the Native American vibe, more so than, say, the English pagan vibe, that the original temple had. Or even something that was that urban. In fact, that was one of the things that surprised me over the years, is how it moved from the city into the country, I guess you could say. And slowly became something that was, I don't know, very interesting to people that you wouldn't normally think had any connection to, say, psychic television or to Aleister Crowley's teachings or the Process Church or any of those sort of things that would normally lead someone to be interested in the temple.
Right. Did I tell you that I adopted my dog when I was a teenager from the Process Church? They changed their name, I guess, recently to Best Friends Animal Sanctuary in Utah. And when I was 13, my parents took me out there, and we were like, "Ooh, look at this look at this wonderful, animal shelter. They're helping dogs. We had no idea that the Grimstons owned it, I guess.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's very interesting, very philanthropic of them.
Yeah, they're doing some philanthropic work these days.
We did a few charitable things. In fact, there was a point when the temple thought to do more things like that, and we took it upon ourselves to just help people out from time to time, at least the East Coast ones that I was most familiar with. Everything from giving out food and jackets and stuff like that to occasionally like some place to live.
Hold on.
Did you ever meet Genesis Peorid, or?
Yeah, on a few occasions I did. Yeah.
What was your experience with them?
Well, he's a friendly enough fellow, I guess. But I've never met anybody that was around him for a very long period of time that didn't have
Issues.
a really negative experience, especially if it involved money. And after my personal experience with the temple and watching him try to sue them, it sort of left a bad taste in my mouth.
That
But
seems to be
I don't
the
dislike
common.
the fellow, and I certainly don't dislike his old music from before when things were, I guess, were a little more innocent, maybe.
Right. So you just want to keep the good memories, like people want to do with Varg before, the Burzum thing.
Ever good memories with Varg? Before Varg made dumb YouTube videos. But anyways. You told me that you worked with Zev a little bit, right?
With who? I'm sorry?
With Zev? He just passed?
Oh, yes. For a while, I'd say around 2004, 2005, that area. I lived in Key West, Florida, and while I was there, I kept meeting people that had sound equipment, and I had some too, and we kind of pooled our equipment together and started a label called PRD, which stood for Personal Ritual Documents.
Oh, wow.
And we put out a couple compilation albums, mostly for Temple of Psychic Youth. It was kind of a way for us to get back into putting out Topi music that didn't have anything connected with Genesis or Psychic TV or Psychic Warriors or the White Stains or any of those other Topi bands out there.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of Topi music.
It was mostly members, basically.
There's quite a bit of Topi music that exists outside the confines of Psychic TV, right?
Yes, and although Genesis tried to squash a great deal of this, it still exists. And with the internet, it's out there,
Yeah.
I actually really like it. I mean, it's still a good idea, even if I don't know,
Doesn't it
Jessica's a
feel
little
like
deluded about his role in it.
it kind of feels like trying to get rid of that stuff goes against like what I think like Topi was made for, which is like sharing everything and not kind of being a tyrant about it, Now, like I've talked to Jen too, and I really liked Jen, but like with Michael Allig was another person I knew for a long time, and I realized it was probably better not, because Michael Allig was somebody that usually let me down, the party monster guy, and I just realized kind of a lot of people have the same outlook as you with the kind of like the suing thing and the money thing, and
if you lived through it, it left a bad taste in your brain permanently, I think. It was a horrible thing to have happen, and I'm glad that it's over. I really am. And like I said, I really liked it. I liked it before all that happened a great deal. And after that, it just left a bad taste in everybody's mouth for a long, long time. And it killed it to a certain extent. That and the internet is what made it a little less relevant than what it is. However, I see it sort of recongealing again. Everything old is new again. And it only took 20 years for the pendulum to swing the other way again.
Right.
That's how it usually runs.
Seems, from what I understand, Genesis seems to take sole credit as being the originator of Topi, but that's not entirely true. Right? In the beginning, it was a network of people involved in conceiving the idea.
Just as a little piece of trivia, the psychic cross predates Genesis's birth. Okay, that's been shown in court, and was used as a religious symbol for rebellious magicians, actually, way back, as well as there are versions of it that were used in various incarnations of the Catholic Church also.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of funny that both use the same symbol, which that's not entirely uncommon.
Kind of a blending of the upside-down
but
cross and
also, the name, the psychic youth, is something that Cozy Fantuti named us.
Wow.
She scratched it into a Throbbing Gristle record. I want to say the original pressing of, what is it, 20 Jazz Funk Great, and it said, "We are the Psychic Youth Club."
Oh, wild. Yeah, it seems like Peter
that's where it comes
Christopherson. Peter Christopherson was largely involved in its inception. David Tibet, maybe.
Yeah, and all of them added to the culture. It really kind of grew out of it. And I never met a member of Toby that was more than passively interested in Genesis as a person. He was like an interesting character, but he was just this mouthpiece for what felt like the rest of us, you know?
Right.
I mean, there used to be a very tight feeling of collectiveness. We all were sort of on the same page and kind of up to the same thing, I guess you could say.
It seems like his magic was really in attracting the right people. It seemed like if you look at all throughout his life, he always seemed to be at the right place at the right time, always in the middle of everything, kind of.
I think he worked at it greatly.
Yeah.
I think that he was very deliberate, very calculating. He takes after Crowley a great deal, and for good reason. He definitely idolized him a great deal, and kind of wanted to be him, and so he conducted his life in a similar way.
Well,
but like Crowley, I think that he was a magnet. He's how a lot of magicians find decent information or find one another also.
Right.
So being a lightning rod, that's a role.
yeah.
It's just that it's not the role that he thinks he had in it.
Yeah, it seems...
I don't think anybody views him as the originator unless they're naive about the temple.
I kind of see him as...
That's almost a sign of it being so.
His real magic force was in attraction. It seemed like he was always able to attract being at the right place at the right time, attracting the right people, you know.
Well, he had the current going with him too. You gotta realize the temple was a very powerful magical force. We were all collectively working together magically to like sort of make each other's dreams come true, and that really is not an exaggeration.
Now, I've heard the Topi current referred to as the 23rd current, relating to the 23rd. The 23 concept originated, I think, by William Burroughs. Was that commonly something that was referred to in Topi?
Yeah, 23 is, I guess you could say one of the flagposts, one of the indicators that are used. It's really just a symbol. But yeah, there's a lot behind it.
Can you tell me a little bit about 23?
It's what they call a word virus.
A word virus.
And it spreads from brain to brain in the same way that computer viruses do. Now, human brains are not computers, even though people like to think about them that way. However, word viruses do spread. They spread a lot like a disease does by contact.
Right.
So when you have it explained to you what the 23 means, you yourself now have the 23 curse permanently.
Right.
It's a little bit like verbal herpes.
Yeah, I think I read something by Burroughs once where he was talking about how words in general are like a curse. Yeah, a word is a virus unto mankind.
Yes, and this is one of the strongest and easiest to demonstrate versions of it, I would say. And so Toby adopted that as a non-denominational, I guess you could say non-spiritual prophets with an ET free, symbol of the occult.
Right.
I'm sure you've noticed that Toby doesn't have a guru, a deity, any sort of god or anything. Nothing at the center. I mean, it's actually kind of frowned upon to believe in that sort of stuff, and they try to do magic free of superstition. And what I've always thought of is the trappings of religion.
Right.
I think that religion tends to coexist with magical study as an ethical and moral guide more than part of the actual mechanism that makes whatever it is happen. Like it doesn't take God to make some magical effects happen. It's just a form of nature.
Seems
and when
like
people say supernatural, I don't mean outside nature, but I mean extremely natural.
right. Seems like from what I've read in Chaos Magic, it seemed pretty like it was a commonplace thing to maybe create your own gods, you know, kind of when you needed them or as they arise. One of my guests already was talking about how, like, you know, in Chaos Magic, it's like you're having problems with your dishwasher, you'd pray to the god of dishwashing. I think I've come across.
Sure. And in a way, you could easily, if you take the internal view of magic, you could say that, you know, that you're psychically activating it, you know, or an external view and say that, yeah, that you're contacting some entity, or, you know, something outside of you. But as far as gods, that's one of the lectures that I like to give frequently, just on how to choose a deity. And yeah, you can create your own, absolutely. In fact, that's trendy to do nowadays. I do make a good case, though, for using one of the established deities because of the momentum they have behind them.
There's an
made-up deity sometimes doesn't necessarily
there's like an archetypal momentum
that Ganesha swings.
Right, yeah, there's more power, and I've played around with creating some of my own gods, but I think there's some power that exists in the fact that the archetypal, you know, well-known gods they're so, you know, they exist in so many heads at the same time. It kind of makes them more concrete.
Exactly. That's what I mean by momentum, I guess I could say, is like all that worship, all that mental energy can be harnessed to a certain extent, in the same way that Jung felt that you could do that.
Right. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit more about the magic of William Burroughs in general. I mean, he was exceptionally creative and ahead of his time for someone playing around with magic. Would you agree?
Yeah, he was an honorary member of the temple. I don't know if he had a name. If he did, I wasn't privy to it.
I didn't know he was a member.
His approach to magic was very formative in how we approach that sort of thing, because it didn't require God. It didn't require good or evil. These were techniques. And his ideas, just like Spare's on automatic writing and introducing random and chaotic elements into your creation process, I think it was ahead of his time, as well as I feel it was prototopy in the sense that
well, definitely prototopy, yeah.
And the use of automatic writing are very similar to the use of sigils and chaos and noise and TV snow, things like that, as magical weapons or tools.
Right, and then that brings up. So you mentioned TV snow. I wanted to talk a little bit about. You sent me a clip of music, and you've done some musical work, soundtracking The Dream Machine, correct?
Yes. There's the video that you can easily view on YouTube about it. Has a soundtrack to it that I always liked, but it was kind of background. And so when we were doing a Toby project with, I don't know, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 other people, we came up with that we wanted to have something, sort of a audio mantra, but with something that wasn't necessarily interrupted, that would kind of carry it along and cycle it. And so I've been doing a lot of work with malas and mantras in general. That's something that I'm very big on Hindu and Buddhist mysticism.
What's the name of the music project, dude?
So I built that piece of music off of the number 23 and permutations of that number. And that's what it is. It's a 23 mantra made up, turned into basically an audio wave. It's supposed to, I call it the carrier wave, like a carrier wave.
Oh, cool.
And it's supposed to kind of carry a meditator along. If you listen to it in loop, it really is quite effective. I mean, we tweaked it over and over again until we hit just the right tone, so that it became sort of an audio dream machine to a certain extent, or at least an amplifier, I would say.
What was the band name you used for that project?
me think. Oh, that's All Have Numbers, None Have Names,
Okay, cool.
which is a quote from a Current 93 song that I've always felt is a jab at Toby.
God Has Three Faces?
As names to make the content of what we produce more digestible, I guess. So you're not looking at who it is, you're just looking at what it is.
Are you talking about the song God Has Three Faces? Doesn't have a name?
Well, no, that's an exact quote. If you dig around, I'm trying to remember the name of the
That's
song.
the song. Yeah, that was on Earth Covers Earth, I think. God has three
Yeah.
faces, doesn't have a name, doesn't have. I think so. Maybe more than one.
No, you'll hear it. You'll listen. He screams it 3 times. All have numbers, none have names. All have numbers, none have names.
Yeah, he used a lot of reoccurring imagery.
Yeah. I also perform under the name Mr. Unpronounceable when I perform solo.
Mr. Unpronounceable, is that a jab at the Tetragrammaton?
No, Mr. Unpronounceable is a jab at an old comedy film. A character who, there's a movie called Road to Wellsville. It's about Dr. Kellogg, the guy that did cornflakes and things like that. It's a comedy. If you can dig it out, I would recommend watching it.
The Road to
Mr.
Wellsville?
Unpronounceable is the character in that I just thought was kind of funny to pull from.
It's a great
Also,
name.
people mispronounce my proper last name from time to time, so it's always been kind of a joke to me.
Right. It's funny.
I don't feel my name is particularly long. It's not like it has 12 syllables or anything.
It's a great band name. It gets me thinking of the Tetragrammaton. I guess it's great when you can think of that concept and something else at the same time.
I also sometimes joke when people ask me my name. I say that it can't be uttered by human lips.
Right, you'll get struck by lightning.
Yeah. Or I can only tell you while we're standing in water.
Right. Or it was only uttered one time, and it induced all these crazy prophecies, and never again.
Yeah.
I was reading
a mark that floats over people's heads and you give them an answer like that.
Right, I know. I was reading a little bit about Zev before I called. Interesting fellow. Was really into Kabbalism, right?
Yes. In fact, he wrote a really amazing book right after collaborating with Psychic Television. They produced an album called Direction of Travel, and then he produced an accompanying book called Rhythm Magic, which part of it is on how to construct drums, which I found very interesting, and the other half of it is on how the tree of life can be expressed in rhythm and sound.
Wild.
Which was the basis for his music.
You wrote about that?
Kind of how I kind of connected with him.
That's incredible.
And,
I'd love to read that.
Yeah, we put out basically an EP along with an ex-Toby member who was in Russia at the time. And it was this rather interesting kind of international project that we did.
Was there
received, but mostly in Europe, I would say. His music is not exactly radio material.
Was there a specific band name on that project?
It's called Concrete.
Concrete?
Uh-huh.
I was that guy lived all over the place, and I was reading because I always knew about his solo stuff and his association with Psychic Youth, but I guess he was involved with Glenn Branca in New York for a minute.
Yeah, I remember something about that too.
That's wild. I mean, Glenn Branca is
true.
Sonic Youth when they were college students before they started Sonic Youth. Glenn Branca, he was a composer.
The members of Sonic Youth are known for having really good musical taste themselves.
Right.
I'm a so-so fan of their music.
Yeah,
I do like them, and I saw them live once, but
I like their early stuff better. They lost all their guitars; they were stolen, and then they never played their early stuff again. But Glenn Branca would, just for listeners who don't know who he is, he was a composer in New York in the '70s. And he would write compositions, and he would have like 100 college students play weird, messed up guitars for those compositions. I guess Zev maybe was one of them. I just read, and Michael Girard, I think, also maybe. Yeah, interesting stuff. But yeah, I mean,
I didn't think too much of it, but yeah, I did know that they had collaborated and knew each other.
Wild. Yeah, and then you said you met him in Florida. He must have just lived all over.
No, he was living in California, actually.
Okay.
We talked on the phone and did like the video thing, and it did everything else electronically.
Okay,
He was traveling and writing and doing all kinds of things. He was extremely busy, and that's one of the things that appealed to me about the project is the compilation albums I did for Topi, as well as this thing with some of the other albums that I put out at that time, were all these things that were done pretty much electronically over the internet, with only the mixdowns and reproductions and stuff like that, and artwork being done at my actual space.
Cool.
And it all felt very 21st.
Cool. Are you still there? Hello? Michael, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. I had a weird sound for a minute. Wanted to make sure you're still there. Well, I'm probably gonna tie up. Is there any projects that you're working on right now that you want to kind of plug?
Well, what I've been up to right now, basically been doing a lecture tour, and I've been teaching visualization and automatic to people in Connecticut, as well as doing like rewilding retreats and a few lectures here and there, but mostly on things like I was just talking about before on choosing deities and using mantras and things of this nature, mostly relating to Eastern religions, since that's my focus.
Cool. Do you work with deities, or do you take the kind of Topi rule against it that you were talking about?
I work with deities as archetypes or aspirations.
Yeah, us too.
In many ways, I regard deities as some sort of, they're generally regarded in the Hindu as well as in the Judeo-Christian tradition as being perfect in some way, or holy, or better than human.
Right.
And so in that way, I've taken that to mean that they're sort of like a goal to aspire to.
Right.
So almost like the way many people pray to saints and try to be like that particular saint, whether it be St. Francis or St. Augustus, or name your saint.
Yeah, I got it.
So that's how I tend to like to use deities. But as far as believing in my heart of hearts that it's that is granting my wish or changing my reality, I don't really subscribe to that, just because I haven't really seen a whole lot of direct orientation between that.
Right. It's almost more like maybe just putting energy in that direction. If you have a particular goal oriented with, say, doing a ritual involving a deity, maybe it's more like the sigilization effect. It's more like you're putting energy in that direction, so the energy is going to manipulate the goal rather than the deity itself, kind of.
Yeah, and having some sort of a shape for it to take, or personification, I think you could call it a crutch, but I think it's a useful tool.
Right.
And I don't think you necessarily outgrow that, even if you become accomplished at what you do.
Right.
I mean, it's still useful.
Yeah. What was it? We were actually, we might do later tonight. We were reading through the Grimorium Verum, and there's a particular demon in there that's supposed to help you manipulate your luck with gambling better. And we were actually don't remember the name. Don't want to sound dumb. Yeah, some minotaur-like deity. Yeah. We do stuff like that all the time. Oh, okay. Solid question. We're supposed to interview Thomas Carlson, I think, sometime in the next few days, and I was reading his book, The Tunnels of Set, the Cliff Oath. Interesting stuff. Have you worked with it much?
I have a little. I was, like most people, I go through a phase, or I went through a phase,
right,
where I was very interested in the inverse tree, about where it came from, and its path workings and things of this nature.
Right. Yeah, we did a
I found it to be an imperfect model, really, is what it kind of came
unfinished.
down to.
Yeah.
It didn't. One of the things that's beautiful about the Jewish tree of life is its symmetry and the way everything drops into it perfectly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a kind of an overflow of things you can work with within that. We did a Thantafexith meditation the other night, and you're right. It's hard to find material on the Cliff Oath too. I can think of
sometimes it just seems a little bit forced.
Yeah.
However, I do think that it is worth meditating on each of the inverse sephira.
Right.
And it's definitely worth working with. I just don't think that it's a complete enough model or polished enough yet to be the basis for someone's entire practice, we'll say.
Right.
Which every now and then I meet someone that's all they work with.
Well,
and
yeah.
I pity them.
They often, people that only work with Left Hand Path or Cliff Oath often seem like they're lacking in character or something, like it doesn't benefit them fully or something.
Yeah, I've never met one that I felt gave off the shine that someone who's been working with tree a lot does. I can usually spot someone who's been doing the middle pillar a lot lately.
Right.
Whereas people that have been invoking Lilith, they don't shine so much.
I've
But
got
they also don't give off a shadow either. It's not like they did anything.
I've had a bit of a grudge against Lilith. I was reading Carlson's book, and he was saying that, if you don't look at her like a vampire and you look at her as an astral gateway, it will help you. I don't know. I just felt like Lilith was something to be transcended, kind of, But Carlson himself seems like a guy who's very spiritual. Like, he's using the left-hand path in a good way. He seems really happy. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll talk to him. But based on his pictures and his posts and everything.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it could be that he has an understanding that his students haven't been able to grasp yet.
Right. Yeah, we were actually...
I mean, you can fault that on them or on him, but, yeah, that could easily be the reason.
Maybe it's that he lives in Sweden, one of the richest countries in the world, too.
Whereas it might not be the person that's working on it.
Right. Yeah. He seems a little different. We were actually the meditation, the Thendafaxeth meditation. We found one on YouTube, and the guy who was posting it, we were watching another video. It seems like left-hand path workers, they always want to wage a war against the light or something, and I just don't really see the point why.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they're missing a pretty fundamental point, I think, which is one of the reasons I tend not to give them as much of my time, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
But they don't realize that yin and yang is actually a triangle.
Right.
And then when you're looking at the dark and the light swirling around, that you are the third element.
Right.
And there's no point in railing against one or the other. You're serving both.
You're missing out if you wage a war with one or the other, I think. Well, cool. I think we're going to wrap things up. Do you have any closing words for us?
Well, just say it's been awesome talking with everybody. I'm glad to see that your current is gaining momentum yourself.
Thanks.
I'm glad it's getting going.
It has. We've been...
I hope it continues to grow.
We've been starting kind of a mental virus ourselves with a 44 number, and we feed it all the time with rituals and stuff. And lately I've been seeing people on forum boards and stuff saying, like, I keep dreaming of the number 44, and I don't know why, and maybe it's us, who knows?
Good. Keep exploding.
Right. Well, I'd love to have you actually do another podcast in the future, because I still have like a million questions for you.
Yeah, of course. Anytime, man.
Awesome.
Anytime.
Cool, man. Well, get some sleep, all right? Thanks for calling.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. See you, Michael.